Welcome to Stay at Home Dads, a podcast.
With your hosts, Drew and Justin, a place where we talk about a lot of guy stuff.
And a little bit of dad stuff too. So kick back, relax, and let's talk. All right. Hey, welcome to the show, everybody. Drew, you had sent me a NewWeek article that talked about this guy named Chris Crawford, I guess. He threw a post up about his kid, and I guess it went wildfire on Twitter or something like that. And we kind of talked and thought it might make a good discussion today.
Yeah.
So I figured we would read it.
All right. So basically there was like a Twitter, what's that called? Like a Twitter post went viral essentially. And this is like what tonight's show's about. So essentially, what was his name? Chris Crawford?
Yeah.
Chris Crawford posts, huge shout out to this kid of mine, 14 years old and has a part-time job at Burger King. Not only does he work every day he can, including weekends when most kids are out enjoying their summer, he goes in early, stays late almost every time he works. He loves every minute of it. Making his own money, saving for a car, being responsible in his decisions, becoming a respectable young man, ! I couldn't be more proud of him. Some of y'all are lazy. Grown-ass people out there should take notes. Hashtag proud dad. To which this other woman writes, this is Kate, she writes, God, this is depressing. Which sparks like this huge like internet
Blow
debate.
Up, right? Yeah.
I mean, it got huge. It got huge. So today we're going to talk about
Chris Crawford.
Chris Crawford and Kate. When is too young to have your kids start working? Like, is it a good idea to have them work at 14? Are you robbing them of their childhood? Like,
right. I think there's a lot of angles to this story. I mean, yeah. I had my first job when I was 14 or 15. I wasn't forced to do it. I was a lifeguard. I went through all the classes to be a lifeguard at a pool. And that's what I did. My parents ran a pool and they asked me if I wanted to work there, or I don't know how that all went down, but I ended up getting a job at a pool. So,
that's a super cool job. Like, I'm a little like, okay, so I didn't realize that was your first job.
You did something with corn, right? Oh
my God. So actually, let's back the train up. I didn't even tell you. So I think corn was like my second job. My first job, you're familiar with A&W root beer?
Yeah. Delicious.
Delicious. A&W actually had like a fast food like franchise. Like, I'm not sure if you're aware of that.
You're a drive-in, right?
Yeah, it was a drive-in. Absolutely. Yeah. Dude, that's exactly what it was. And for some reason, I think I was like 13. And like somebody told me like word on the street was, dude, A&W hires you at 13. Like they don't care. Oh, and I was like, oh my God, let me get a job there. And I don't know why I wanted to do it. Like, who knows why kids want to do anything at 13, but like I got a job there and it was horrible. It was god awful. I literally was scrubbing toilets. I was carrying these trays. Like I'm 13 and I'm carrying like these trays of like A&W root beer floats with like freaking like, what are those called? Like chili dogs and like fries. And, like, dude, it weighed a ton. I probably dropped like 50% of not 50%, but I probably dropped a couple of trays, which was really embarrassing because you just freaking lose it and like you drop it. Like it's expected. You're dumbass.
And you were 13, right?
I was 13. You're having to do like this math, like on the fly. Like I was horrible at math. Like I in my head. So I actually carry like a little pocket calculator and I was like, hold on a sec. Your total is like, I literally had to do that. It was god awful. That was my first job. So, but you were a lifeguard?
Yeah, I was a lifeguard. I was 14 or 15. I mean, I had to practice like saving people and doing CPR, getting them on backboards and all that stuff. And I was excited. Like, and I was young, but I wanted to work. My parents weren't forcing me to work. And I don't know. I was excited to do it. I'm looking at pictures of this kid. Yeah. And it's astonishing. This kid looks like he's 9. Like
you're gonna post it. You're gonna post a picture of that tweet.
We'll put it up here. But I don't know. This guy's getting raked over the coals about having his young kid like work and you're getting robbed of childhood and stuff like that. Which I guess in some respects I understand. Yeah. Like that aspect or that argument. But on the other hand too, is like, it is teaching, it taught me like the, you know, self-worth. I made $4 an hour back when minimum wage was $4 an hour. Like, of course that I didn't want to make $4 an hour forever. I mean, you and I worked at Target together. I mean, granted that wasn't a first job, but we worked at Target together.
Okay. So for our audience, let's explain, cause I don't think we've gone into this, or maybe we have, but we met, stay-at-home dads audience at Target, like in freaking orientation. Like that was where Justin and I fell in love as bros. Yeah. That was where our bromance budded. Because we were watching like safety videos together, and we were cracking up at like these safety videos, and like I was like laughing my ass off, Justin was laughing, and I'm like, did we just become best friends? Yup.
We did.
Favorite dinosaur? Velociraptor. Like, you want to go practice karate in the garage? Yup. Like that was Justin and I's bunk beds. So much room for activities. Like that was where we became best buds.
So I mean, we worked at Target. We made minimum wage, but I think that job taught us something too. That was a pretty crappy job. We unloaded trucks by hand. Like,
I had fun though, because you were there. Like you were my bud. Right. Like I loved it because I was like, I'm going to hang out with Justin. Like that's how I viewed it at the time.
And make very little money per hour.
Very little money. But dude, we went out for breakfast together. Like we went out to like eat for Del Taco. Right. For like a little
But
breaks.
I mean, we didn't want to do that. We knew that job helped us. Like, I mean, first jobs help you learn what you don't want to do. Like, I don't want to unload trucks for the rest of my life. No. I guarantee this kid probably doesn't want to work at Burger King and run the drive-through for the rest of his life. You know, so it's going to teach in my opinion, it's going to teach values, and it's going to teach, you know, becoming a well-rounded person. Right. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, okay. So let's go into my second job. So I think like, I literally think at 13 was where I worked at A&W, but my second job was detasseling corn. So I'm from Iowa. I was born and raised in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. And I got on a detasseling detail, or whatever you call it, like crew. Mm-hmm. And basically like they take you out like on this, like you meet at like, I feel like I met at like my middle school, and like they pick you up on a bus, you have your lunch packed, they drive you out to like this farmer's cornfield, like in the middle of freaking nowhere. And all day, like you get on like these, like, there's like these tractors that have like these basket apparatus things like set up that like are between the corn rows. And like this tractor drives, and like there's kids in each basket, and like you're like detasseling corn, which is like the male part of the corn that for whatever reason they don't want to like fertilize other corn. I don't know, like something like, it's like you're detasseling, and I feel like it's like, so
that sounds like child labor laws. How old were you?
I was 14 when you were able to do that. So that was like the next summer after A&W. And I did that for 2 years, I want to say. And I mean, dude, I wanted money for clothes. Not that my parents probably wouldn't have bought me stuff I wanted, but like just for whatever reason.
There's that precedent, or well, it's like, hey kids, you have what we're providing you. Mm-hmm. If you want more than that, then you need to go work hard, and you need to figure out how to make money. I mean, people aren't going to give, like parents aren't going to give your kids, you know, I'm not going to give my kids an allowance forever. Like they need to learn that, like, hey, if I want things, I need to work hard for it. You know what I mean? Like,
well, here's the thing. I feel like my parents that I feel like at the time, my mom who I was living with would have bought me like Levi's, which is fine. Like now I don't give a shit. But at that point, I wanted like Guess jeans. I wanted like stuff from like the Buckle. Like that was like for some reason like popular when I was like in middle school. And like that was like a freaking 20 to 40 bucks, probably higher than
those were for our parents, for like that lifestyle back then. Those were expensive things. And maybe this poor kid working at Burger King wants to get him hands on a Nissan 350Z or a Mustang or something. And maybe his parents said, hey kid, go bust your ass, go get one. And maybe that's what he's doing. And I feel like that's going to make him a well-rounded human being. That's going to teach him some values. It's going to teach him that things aren't constantly just given to him when he wants them, you know? So
Well, I do remember specifically, I was like really obsessed with Doc Martin boots. Do you know Doc Martens?
I had a pair. Yep.
I really wanted Doc Martens. So I think that's why I worked, because my parents were like, you don't need freaking like, they were like $100, I feel like back then.
Yeah.
Like back then, that was like a lot of money.
Oh
And
yeah.
like I saved up because I detasseled and I got Doc Marten boots. And like that was like my whole thing. So I mean, whatever, man. Like, but here's the thing. We got to talk about, okay, so here's the debate. Does letting your child work at like 14, 15, is this like robbing them of like their childhood, or is this instilling like good work ethic? Because my wife would argue she worked at movie theaters and she actually loved it. And my wife is very ambitious, and she became like, I'm not sure if it was manager, but I feel like she became like assistant manager or something. Like she definitely moved up like very quickly, because my wife's a badass. But so she would say like, so here's the thing, like, what if your kid wants to work? Like, obviously you can't stop them, but do you think it's robbing them of just enjoy yourself, just like have fun, like just
run around with your friends,
like
go
to the
watch
beach.
movies, go to the beach, go to Dairy Queen, go swim in people's pools, go whatever.
So let's play devil's advocate, and let's play like it teaches good work ethic. Like let's like weigh the options real quick. So what do you think, man? Like what's your stance?
Yeah, so I guess I understand. Like, on one hand, yeah, like personally me and how I would think that I would treat my own children when they get to the age is like, hey, if you want to go get a job, yes, it teaches great values. It teaches, you to make your own money, to manage your own money, as this gentleman said on here. And, all those aspects are great. You want extra that we're not providing you. Okay, then you get a job. Like I'm happy with that. But like you said, on the other hand, like you're going to miss out on like doing these fun things to maybe your kid's into sports. What if my kid gets into golf that I talked about before, or basketball, and she doesn't have time to have a job, and she's doing sports and she's doing other activities? Like I wouldn't want her to break away from like doing like these things that she's very passionate about to go work at the Dairy Queen, like if she's doing sports and she's doing other things and she's doing all these extracurricular activities and she's being a kid and she's having fun and she's wanting to do that stuff and not work, I'm also, really fine with that. On another story, I may have told you about it. I may have talked about it on this podcast, but we went to Canada one time and there were these girls that were in Whistler on a vacation. Yeah. And you probably remember this story.
I know the story. It's a great story. Go like
these girls, like, so me and my wife were hiking and we ran into these two girls and they were hiking up on the mountains in the summertime in Whistler. And they worked at the local, ski shop and the restaurant and stuff like that. And we got to talking to them, and she told me that she was from like central Canada, and she was young, like, I don't know, 19. Yeah. And she was planting trees, like physically planting like little sapling trees in the ground for a summer job.
That's awesome.
And she went to Whistler to go visit some friends. And she was like, oh, I kind of like it here. And she got like a part-time job out there. Yeah. And she like stayed, and she still, I think, had that young mentality of like, I'm going to hang out with my friends and I'm going to party and I'm going to have a menial job. But she said, I've got my whole life to figure out to be I think she wanted to be a police officer, officer. I've got my whole life to do that, to work and to retire and all that. And she was totally fine with it. And I really admired her for actually doing that and kind of going to the beat of her own drum. Yeah. So I see both sides.
I will say my third job was Walmart, which is like, I'm sorry, Walmart. But I would say it's a definite step down from like Target. But I will say, like, I wish I just would have started there, because the A&W was like very like it was just like a very low.
Yeah, you were like toilets. You were
I was scrubbing toilets. Yeah, I was like bringing like trays out. I was like it was
cleaning
bad.
The parking lot. Whatever.
I never should have done A&W, but I did it. And then even like the detasseling corn, like that was out in the hot sun all day. Like I was getting like all freaking sunburn. Like I was getting like you get like paper cuts from like pulling the tassels, like from the freaking corn leaves. Like my hands were getting like shredded. Like that was bad. But Walmart, I think, would have been like a better starting point. I mean, as like a high schooler kid.
Right.
And I did enjoy Walmart. Like that was fun. Like I actually made like some friends, and like we'd like go out and like party, and like, like it was like a little like crew that like I became friends with. That wasn't, weren't kids from my high school, but like all my age, and like we had like a little like clique
into the same things, and you kind of like kind of clicked a little bit, and kind of how you and I did when we worked.
It was kind of like Target. It was kind of like Target, but like younger. So like that was kind of fun.
So what would you do? Like what's your, how do you feel about, being a free bird and not working at a young age?
Well, I definitely, I see like the benefit of having a job, because at least when I got to like Walmart, like that was cool because it gave me gas money. It gave me money for fast food. It gave me money for like movies, taking, if I want to take a date out, like I had some extra spending cash, and it wasn't too hard. Like, let's be honest, like Walmart's not going to like break your back, So I think that was a good experience. And I think I should have started there. I think I should have probably waited till like Walmart to start my little like working career. But I think
personally, if you would have not started at 13 or 14, you would have waited till you were like 16 or so, or
only because I was doing like really hard manual labor, like on farms, pulling tassels, and A&W just sucked. I'm sorry to the franchise, but that was like a really horrible experience for me. Like I didn't enjoy bringing out trays of food to people.
You apologize to the franchise. That's hilarious.
Because I enjoy the root beer. The root beer is delicious. Like you guys are killing it, but screw your.
Today's episode is sponsored by root beer.
Sponsored by root beer. That's Law Mother. It's my wife's brand. It's my wife's company, actually. So anyway, if my daughter wants to work. And here's the thing, if she's anything like my wife, she's going to be like hella ambitious, because my wife, like, she can't do anything half-assed. Like my wife, if she does it, she excels. And that's why I love her. She's just so
passionate.
She's so passionate about whatever she does. Whatever she does, she throws in like 110%. And I think, so
if your kid is anything like that, then
if she's anything like that, she's going to like want to she's going to want to excel like in her like little like, part-time job she does in high school. And if she wants to do it, I'm going to say, just make sure you balance your free time, like your personal life and your work life, because you don't want to miss out on stuff, because you're only going to be in high school once,
That's a really good point. Yeah. You don't want to shout out to this kid. We don't know his name. Chris Crawford is his dad, but shout out to him. He's busting his tail and he's working, but dude, what are you doing staying late? It says he's staying late in here. He's working weekends. Like, you're going to miss out on life. You're going to miss out on that fishing trip with your dad. You're going to miss out on going camping with your buddies or whatever it is. And it's going to, like you said, you're a kid one time. It's going to pass you by. You've got your whole life to work.
So what are you going to say to your daughters? Like, let's throw this back to you real quick before we wrap it. Like, what are you going to say to Olivia and Kennedy when they're like, Dad, I want to work at Burger King, and I want to stay late and come early and like work weekends? And like, what are you going to say?
I'm going to tell them that if they want to get a job, they can get a job, as long as it doesn't interfere with their school or any of their extracurricular activities. And I think I would probably put my foot down and be like, I don't want you working like some freaking crazy amount of hours. Like you're 15, you're 14, you're 16. Like, you don't need to be doing that.
Keep it like part-time. Keep it
like dialed back. Keep it part-time. You have another life to lead.
Yeah.
Should we read some of these comments on here real quick?
Yeah, dude. Like, let's go into this, because I'm sorry if this show is going a little over, but let's go into some of these comments.
So we'll take it to the Twitterverse and we'll see what the people of Twitter want to say about Chris Crawford. And
Chris Crawford, what do you got to say to Chris Crawford?
Let's see. If he works works days and weekends and usually goes in early and stays late, then how is that part-time? Let's be honest. Are there labor laws about this? That's another comment.
Yeah. Dude,
exploiting children is my passion. Oh my God.
Dude, when I worked at 13, I feel like he got around some like weird law where he didn't even have to pay me minimum wage, because my tips were supposed to make up for it. It was dumb. It was dumb.
Yeah,
Like I didn't
I've
make
heard
it to
about that. Yeah.
I didn't make it to the whole summer because I kind of caught on to like the racket, and I was like, okay, you're like really exploiting like my youth right now. And like I figured even at 13, like after about a month, I was like, okay, no, this is stupid. Like I'm working
You're
way
out.
too hard for this guy. Yeah.
Yeah, here's one that agreed kind of with what we were talking about. I feel this kid is missing out on a lot of his childhood. I mean, if he asked to do it, he can do what he wants, but I miss being a kid. That's what this person says, that I miss being a kid, having no responsibility and just being a kid. So maybe we leave that as our closing statement, that take a Twitter user NeoSlug's comment to heart there.
Mhm.
Just be a kid, guys. Have your kids be a kid.
Yeah.
Don't push them into getting a job. They're going to have 50 years to work and to break their backs and to be miserable at whatever they're doing. Hopefully not, but they've got their whole life ahead of them. So,
but to play devil's advocate, like my wife, if the kid really enjoys the work and they're feeling fulfilled in it, because she really enjoyed like the process at her like movie theater job, if they're like feeling good and they're being promoted and they're feeling, you know, like
agree. Yeah.
All fine and good, but just don't force them into it and make them, it's got to be their decision. I feel like. Yep.
Good. Their decision, have a good balance, and that's about it. So,
yeah. All right, guys. So that's our show.
That was fun, dude.
Yeah, that was a good show. And that's very relevant because this is like something that just blew up on Twitter, like I feel like yesterday. So
so we'll get this one out as soon as we can. If any of you guys have comments or questions or anything, or what's your thoughts on working as a kid, having child labor laws? I don't know what they are in your state, but you know, that was a joke, by the way. Let us know in the comments below. So,
all right, guys, we'll catch you next time.
Later. All right, that's our show. Thanks for watching Stay-at-Home Dads.
You know the drill, guys. Blah, blah, blah. Hit that like button, subscribe.
We'll catch you on the flip side.